Hi everyone. I'm making this video to show my Ancestry DNA results and to talk about why I did this Ancestry DNA test. But first I'll give you my backstory. My mother was adopted as a baby and we knew nothing about her birth family except that they were probably really young. I was told that her mother was probably about 16 years old, and apparently they kept my mom for the first couple of months of her life before giving her up for adoption. And then my biological father left my mom when I was little, so I always knew who he was, but I never knew how to contact him. And he didn't keep in touch with me or my brother, so I didn't really know anything about his family either. I always felt like something was missing from my life because I didn't know either side of my family, and my grandparents that adopted my mother passed away when I was really little, so I've never really been close to my adoptive family besides a few cousins. I first started on Ancestry.com when I was 17, and mostly it was just to try to find out about my dad's side of the family. I had a little handwritten family tree that went back a few generations, so I started making posts about my dad and his family and just trying to find out, if anyone knew him or knew where he was. It's kind of sad. 26, I found my biological dad on Facebook, and we ended up meeting up. And so, yeah, it was a really surreal experience. It was weird seeing how much I look like him. That was a really emotional day for me. I had finally found this man that was missing from my life my entire childhood, and of course I cried a lot after I left, but I still hardly ever hear from him, and I don't know, I'm trying to make some connections with some of my cousins on his side of the family who are closer to my age, but that's about it. It is around the same time that I made contact with my biological father. I got a message on Ancestry.com from some random anonymous person who had seen my posts, and this person told me that my mother's birth mom's last name was this certain last name, which I'm not going to say just because I don't know if they want to be known, but yeah, I searched that name for a long time and that never led to anything. So anyways, about a year ago I did the Ancestry DNA test because I was curious about where my ancestors came from. And I ended up using records online to trace my dad's side of the family back really far. I ended up finding records all the way back into like the 1800s and 1700s and 1600s that went back to Germany, France, Spain, England, and Ireland. My mom, I obviously didn't know what her ancestry was until she did the DNA test, and found out she is 100% European, mostly English and Irish, which is what I suspected because she has red hair and blue eyes. Another reason I did this test was to see if there were any health issues that came up, because every time I go to the doctor, and the doctor asks me, what is your family's medical history, I always have to say I have no idea. So I guess now I'll get into the results of my ancestry test. Show you what it says here. I have England, Wales, and Northwestern Europe, 55%. Ireland and Scotland 24%, France 9%, Germanic Europe 3%, Native American 3%, Sweden 3%, Spain 2%, and Basque 1%. And then here is what the map looks like, and it shows each one of the countries that you have DNA from. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Some of my predictions were right. The German, the French, the Spanish, English and Irish. I was really surprised by the Native American. That obviously came from my dad's side because my mom's 100% European. And before this, I had never heard of Basque, or Basque, however you say it. So that was pretty interesting to find out. And it turns out my mother has some close relatives that showed up on her Ancestry DNA test, and they have the same last name as the name that the anonymous person had told me years ago. So that is really, really interesting and shocking. I went through the list of all of the names of people that showed up as relatives and messaged all of them. I got a few responses back, but the main one that gave me the response I was looking for is one of my mom's first cousins. And her and I have been messaging each other and sharing pictures on Facebook. We're still not clear about who my mom's mother is, but it's very obvious that it's someone in this person's family. It's really crazy to see people that look like my mother because my mom looks nothing like anyone in her family. So it's really a trip. It's really crazy. I can't even believe that I found my biological family. Someday I can meet them. It would be really cool to meet some relatives, and you know, maybe someday I'll find out who my grandmother is, and if I find out who my grandmother is, it'd probably be pretty easy to find out who my grandfather is. So hopefully all I would have to do is ask her. Really happy that I did this DNA test. I found out so many interesting things, and I can't even believe I found my mom's family. It's really, really crazy. Anyways, thanks for watching.